The founder and CEO of Black Girls Code, Kimberly Bryant, an organization dedicated to educating and empowering young women in technology, tweeted this press release. So it's 3 days before Christmas, and you wake up to discover the organization you created and built from the ground up has been taken away by a rogue board with no notification. Now, the board announced that she was being replaced for several reasons, but they also talked about what was described, we see reports as toxic workplace culture. Well, she joins us right now from San Francisco. Glad to have you on the show, Kimberly. So it has been 3 weeks or so since you posted that particular tweet. Where does it stand? Are you suspended? Have you been fired? Have you been replaced? What's going on?
Roland, thank you so much for having me on the show today. And I did want to correct for the record that I'm on a paid leave or
Got it?
suspension. I haven't been ousted. I'm still I'll always be the founder, but I'm still the CEO of Black Girls Code. Although there is an interim executive director who is running the organizational work in my absence, pending this investigation that, to my knowledge, has yet to be started.
So, how did we get to this point? What happened?
Hmm. Roland, that's a great question. I would say that we got to this point in a few ways. You've been a longtime supporter of BGC and the work that we do. We've been teaching girls of color from underrepresented communities about computer science and technology for the past 10 years. So since 2011 and to this very day. Over the last 2 years, however, we experienced this period of really rapid growth. So coming into 2020, like many other organizations, we were kind of shocked, if you will, to have to go into a totally different space of how we do our work due to the pandemic that began in the beginning of March. We went through this transformation, if you will, where we took all of the classes and workshops we used to do in person. We pivoted to a virtual model. And as a result, we had our best year in over 10 years. We reached over 10,000 students. We reached girls and individuals, boys and girls, women and men from all over the world. But we also experienced this period of hyper growth. So, what I mean by that is we came into 2020 with an organization of about maybe 7 or 8 individuals, ended with a little bit over 20 individuals at the end of 2020, as well as coming into 2020 with gross revenues or net revenues, if you will, of a little under $2 million to ending 2020 with net revenue of about $40 million, slightly under $40 million. So the organization was really in this period of both rapid growth from all this revenue and support that we, as so many other social justice organizations, received in the wake of George Floyd's killing. And we also grew our work and started to experience a bit of turmoil, if you will, in a culture that's trying to adjust from being a really small grassroots organization to a very large, heavily resourced one. And due to that, we had some challenges. And as a result of that, even now, some bad actors have come into play to interrupt us from the good work that we've been doing for the past 10 years.
TechCrunch posted this on December 27th that the Black Girls Code Board of Directors said they formed a special committee to review and evaluate complaints made by current and former employees about Bryant's conduct. The board formed a special committee to review the complaints and placed you on administrative leave. There's a comment here from Heather Hiles, who's the interim board chair, where it says that that the board has a fiduciary responsibility to protect the organization and the well-being of its staff. I can confirm that the recent activities are a result of following through in that responsibility. Were there any complaints from folks that were brought to you, that were brought to HR, anything that came to you before this action was taken?
One of the things that I have said before, which, this all started to unfold on December 21st, and to this date, I have not been told by any member of the board, from any board president or any board member, what exactly it is that this investigation is focusing on. Like, I have not been asked, I have not been told, I have not given a statement to the board, nor have they told me why there is a need for an investigation of me.
So you so
What
you've
I
been so you've been on leave for 3 weeks and have no idea why.
No idea why. As I mentioned, we experienced this period of hyper growth, as well as we had some employee turmoils and issues in the middle of the year that we as an organization started to address. So we hired an external culture strategist, Carla Monterosa from Brava Partners. We hired her to do a employee cultural pulse survey to understand what's some of the things that were happening in this very multi-generational diverse workforce that we were building. We hired another organization, a consultant, agility consultants, to come in and do a salary and compensation study for our team so that we could raise our equity level, because as I said, we grew and we wanted to be able to compensate our team accordingly to the growth that we experienced. So we just finished that compensation study with really a clear pathway of what our compensation policy will be now into the future at the end of December. We brought in an executive coach to work with myself as well as the new members of senior leadership and our executive team. So we have been doing the work to address these issues as we grew this high growth organization with very little support from anyone else, internally on our board of directors. So to be hit with this at the end of this period of both growth and where we were really doing the work as a leadership team to make sure that we built equity in our organization is the most I want to say challenging, but it's really, really disappointing because when a person brings in a board, that statement is right. You bring in a board to actually help support the mission and the work. And it's unfortunate at times when organizations, especially Black organizations and Black led organizations, don't receive that support internally to get through the growing pains. And that's really what I want to build in the future for other Black women founders and other women in leadership like myself, because there's still a gap, evidently. And I am the example of it here of how we as women in leadership are sometimes not supported and certainly not given the grace to fail and get back up again and keep moving forward with our missions.
So what's next? I mean, obviously, you said you haven't had no one said anything to you. You have no idea. All right, what's next?
Um, your guess in terms of what's next in terms of this situation is I'm still waiting. What I'm here to do is to support getting through a fair and unbiased investigation that gets to the facts. There could be many truths, but I believe, because I'm an engineer, there's one set of facts. And I would like to see this issue resolved as quickly as possible so both the organization and myself can focus on this work that we started back in 2011. You yourself have supported, and so many others in our community, and because we need to do this work to support our girls. For me, this future is really about driving this conversation of when Black women lead. These are the sometimes unnecessary fruits of our journeys and our pathways. And I want to build more equity and advocacy in my work in the future and have an even greater impact than we have done with Black Girls Code to date by really focusing on how we support Black women in leadership roles, how we give them access to mental health support, because this ordeal for me as a mother who founded this organization for my daughter, who found out this unfortunate news on my mother's birthday, it has been traumatic. And I want this to not happen to other women like me in leadership roles. And so I want to build resources to support their mental health journeys. And also, last but most importantly, funnel their endeavors for the girls that have been a part of our program and other Black women, really give them the tangible resources so it doesn't take 10 years to get to the point that Black Girls Code did. And then you finally have the resources to actually do this work. And you get it, and it takes so much of a struggle to get there. So I really want to dedicate this next generation of the work that I'm going to do with my mission to focus on that type of work and advocacy for other Black women. I would encourage folks to follow this story. I have had a community of founders and supporters create a website for me on WeSupportKimberly.org. There's a letter of support there. I encourage people to sign it. I encourage people to continue to support organizations like Black Girls Code, but also to look at how do we uplift, help, and give voices and support to other women like me who have experienced some of these similar things. So go to WeSupportKimberly.org for that, or follow me on any of my social media. It's the number 6 in GEMS, and watch this space.
All right. Kimberly, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Roland.
All right. Back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way. Honored to be on a show that you own. A Black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
You dig?